put this out there first is we're going to have several speakers. After all the speakers are done, then we'll just open it up for questions, any questions you got. And I'll kind of highlight the case that we're working today, or putting a close to today, is Operation Endless Consequences. We had a gangster disciple set that's operated in Butts County for decades. They were not let me say it this way, they didn't portray violence in our community. They were known for drug sales. I'm sure they committed a lot of violence, but it was outside of this community. March of 2021, we had a local coach at the recreation department, well thought of amongst the community, probably coached most of these gang members while they were growing up. They had a county basketball game, adult basketball league. Two rival gangs started fighting. The coach, being who he was, went out and tried to separate the two gangs, and unfortunately he was shot when the gunfire started. Thank God he lived. He's recovering. And that violence stems from this guy. His name is Keyshawn Bland. He is the leader of a neighborhood blood set. He was blessed off by the higher-ups to start a blood gang in the city of Jackson. Once he started that, the gangster disciples then, I guess, didn't like the idea of him coming, and we've seen a drastic increase in drive-by shootings and gang-related violence. The GBI gang task force started building intel. My investigators started building intel, and of course, it takes them seconds to commit a crime, and it takes us months to, not only we have to identify them as gang members, and then we have to have predicate acts to put with them. So this has been an ongoing thing. February of this year, February 26th, we had another shooting inside the city of Jackson on Valley Road. I told narcotics. We suspected it to be a drug house where they were selling illegal narcotics. I told the narcotics agents to try to get inside the house, which they did. And when they were in, they recovered this video. I'll let you see the video. So the car pulls up to the stop sign, is taking a right. The shooter in this case is a gangster disciple by the name of Zayn White. He thought that Keyshawn Bland was in that car. That car was actually an innocent motor in public, just taking a right at a stop sign when White come out and opened fire on the car. Once they did the search warrant for drugs on this house, I told my captain of narcotics I wanted the gang dismantled. I didn't care what it took. I didn't care how much it took. I didn't care how long we had to work. I wanted it stopped. We were fortunate that no innocent person was killed through this uptick in gang violence we were seeing. And that's when the case started. We used every investigative technique we could possibly use. We've taken over 200 arrest warrants, arrested or in the process of trying to apprehend 70 individuals. 16 of those 70 are gangster disciple confirmed gang members who has gang charges. We were about halfway in the case. We had one GBI gang task force agent that works this county pretty much day in, day out with us. He's done a whole lot on this case prior to us getting to where we're at, and that's when we knew we were going to have a whole lot more help. So the governor's GBI gang task force, the governor's initiative, they sent the entire gang task force down here, and it could not be possible without them. Before I pass this on, just a few people that I have to thank. We're a very, very small community. We're a population of about 23,000, and we're a very close-knit community. When we can remove this type of criminal element and this drastic amount of people, it brings peace to our community, and it's going to stay that way because we're going to not stop today. This is just the beginning. We won't stand for it. We're not going to tolerate it. The good people of this county don't want it. I don't want it, and I'm not going to stand for it. But I want to thank my staff, my deputies, investigators first and foremost. They've worked really, really hard to put this together. Governor Brian Kemp, it wouldn't be possible had he not sent his the task force to us. Our district attorney, Jonathan Adams, can't get where we're at today if he's not supportive. GBI Director Mike Register, Region 6, GBI, the Gang Task Force, Daryl Dix, Sheriff in Spalding County, Brad Freeman in Monroe County, Chief Mark Ammerman in Henry County, and Chief James Morgan with the Jackson Police Department. It's a collective effort. The message I want to send at GBI, local agencies, city agencies, the federal government, it doesn't matter. I will bring everybody I have to bring in to maintain peace and security in this community. With that said, I'm going to call up Director Mike Register.
Thank you. You know, first, I want to thank the Sheriff Long, for his partnership. Also, Sheriff Dix from Spalding County, Chief Morgan from Jackson PD, and all the other great law enforcement agencies that are represented here today. But I also want to thank the governor for his continued support of law enforcement and his commitment to making our communities safer and more stable by making criminal street gangs and the violence they breed as one of his top priorities. As GBI Director, I'm very proud to be part of this initiative and to lead an agency that is aggressively addressing criminal street gangs and working with our local, state, and federal partners to address this issue that is manifested throughout Georgia. The GBI joined this specific investigation over a year and a half ago, a long time. This case involves the three primary components that I believe jeopardizes every citizen's safety here in Georgia: gangs, guns, and drugs. It's a nasty trifecta. Members of the GBI Gang Task Force and other GBI work units spent many long hours working alongside our various partners to realize the fruits of the investigation you see here today. We were able to leverage our expertise in focusing on and investigating criminal street gangs and serve as a force multiplier alongside the great servants who work at the various law enforcement agencies involved in this task force. The case was very complex because it involved a hybrid mix of street gangs associated with sets of the Bloods, Crips, and Gangster Disciples, to name a few. Their activities created a tremendous endangerment to the community here and also resulted in the shooting of a beloved coach and other citizens. The GBI has spent the last 3.5 years in developing various capabilities and methodologies to address the violent street gangs within our state, and also work with local, state, and federal prosecutors to further ensure that we get violent criminals off the street and out of our communities. These partnerships and focused efforts have given us the ability to proactively answer Governor Kemp's call and our community's pleas to disrupt and dismantle criminal street gangs. This is what made the numerous warrants and arrests concerning this investigation possible. To all involved, I thank you for your efforts and hard work and look forward to our continued partnership and efforts in the future. And with that, I will bring up District Attorney Jonathan Adams. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, everyone here, especially to all the law enforcement partners and agencies that are here to make what's happened today possible. I want to start by thanking Sheriff Long and his team for leading this operation, and every law enforcement agency here that has worked hard to make our community safer. They are gangs and drug dealers out there that are a blight on our community. They are dangerous for our communities, our schools, and our homes. And I'm committed to working with law enforcement partners and using the governor's funds that are directed towards violent crimes. We've received a grant and will actually be able to start a new prosecutor next week that is focused on the gangs, the drug dealers, and violent criminals in this area. Working together, we can put these criminals where they belong, behind bars, and I'm excited to be a part of that effort with all of these individuals here. I'd like to introduce now the Chief of Police for the Jackson Police Department, Chief Morgan. Thank you.
Thank you, D.A. Adams. First of all, I want to thank my mayor, the sheriff, and all the law enforcement agencies that's represented here today. This has truly been a long time coming. We have had violence in the community, and I agree with the sheriff, it was time for it to stop. There's two things that go along with that, is the people in the community need to be safe. We've been tasked with that job to make them safe, to keep it safe for them, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We will pull out all stops at any time to make sure that the citizens are safe. The message to the criminals, we will not tolerate it. If you're gonna do it, you need to find you somewhere else to do it. And I'm not pushing you off into any other jurisdiction, but we will put you in jail. And so, going forward, we want the people to believe that they have a safe community, and we will make it a safe community for them. Again, I want to thank all the partners that's here that helped us. They stood shoulder to shoulder and made sure and were guided in the right direction, and today we have been successful. Going forward, we will be successful. So now I would like to thank each and every one here today, and also I will turn it over to Sheriff Diggs.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Shortly after Sheriff Long began this investigation in Butts County, it was soon discovered that many of the people that they were dealing with in Butts County were also involved in a series of drive-by shootings and other operations that were going on inside of Spalding County in the city of Griffin. In communicating with Sheriff Long, I offered him all the help that we could offer through the Spalding County Sheriff's Office, through manpower. We have worked with the GBI's gang task force before, and I can tell you that is an outstanding group of people to work with as well. And when they work on it, they throw themselves into it 100%, just like our local people do. I think what this operation also should send a message to the people in the general public, that the days of hiding your head in the sand and saying that these are not real gangs that operate here locally and operate here in Georgia, those days are gone. These are real gang members. These people have real agendas. They are dangerous. They are in your communities. And because of the work of Sheriff Long, other local agencies combining and working together, we are going to send a message that we're not going to tolerate it. Sheriffs work great together. We have a great network of people. If I call Sheriff Long or any other sheriff, they'll give us everything that they've got. They'll send it to us, and it's the same way with us. I know it's the same way with the GBI. So, folks, the message is clear. If you're going to operate this way, you do need to find another place to go, preferably out of this state. If not, you're going to suffer the consequences. You'll end up in jail, or if you continue this lifestyle, one of these other gang members is going to take your life, and that's not a very good option either, because it'll end very badly for you. So thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you to Sheriff Long and his task force that they put together for today's great success. As many of them have already said, the thing that we won't tolerate in Jackson is violent criminals. Our citizens deserve a quality of life that they've all grown to love, the legacies they've created. And for a few individuals that want to disrupt that, today is the last day for the rest of the future for most of those individuals. Our sheriff has done a great job putting this together. Our chief of police, Chief Morgan, has done a great job working with those agencies and all of the state and federal agents that are here today. Thank you for what you've done. Today, our citizens now can be at peace, knowing that these criminals are off the street, but we'll continue to work towards a more peaceful solution and give our citizens the peace of mind that they all deserve. They've worked hard to build their homes, to build their families, to build their careers, and it's not fair to them to live out the rest of their days in fear. So those individuals that want to go out and create terroristic acts in our neighborhoods, there's no more of terroristic acts. We will stand firm. We will stand with vigilance. We will be in solidarity with our police departments and our agencies, and we will stand firm in that action. So we appreciate all of you here today. Thank you to all our law enforcement agents for all that you've done and all those men and women on the street. God bless you.
I guess we'll open it up for questions, if you have any questions.
Sheriff Long, can you just give us the hits, runs, and errors, numbers of arrests, numbers of actual gang members? We see some identified on your visuals.
So on the posters, the gang members are marked, says gang on it, but 16 gangster disciples confirmed. They actually received, were charged under the gang statute. 70 individuals total arrested, a little over 200 felony arrest warrants signed, and I think about 4 search warrants. One of the big messages, Doug, that I want to relay to people is it's not just about the gang. If you're associating with a gang member, if you're purchasing narcotics from a gang member that's fueling their operation, you're my target. And we're not stopping. We're not going anywhere.
And a question for Director Register. Is this something that we see in other communities throughout Georgia?
You sure do. It's endemic. It's a pandemic in Georgia. When you look at gangs and the violence that they breed, we did a survey, out of 159 counties, 158 counties responded and said that there was gang activities in their county. So this is not just something here or in Atlanta, it's throughout the state. And I can assure you the GBI makes this a priority, as Governor Kemp does, and we stand ready to assist any law enforcement agency and partner with them to help make their communities safe and more stable by eradicating gangs. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Could you describe again the relevance of that video to your investigation?
Yes, so this video here, of course, we suspected this to be a house that was just operated by gang members for the purpose of selling illegal narcotics. Zayn White was one of the dealers that was at that house pretty much every day. Keyshawn Bland, that was trying to form the blood set here in Jackson, drove a car similar to that one. It was actually an innocent motoring public that pulled to a stop sign in a neighborhood. Primarily this neighborhood here is a quiet neighborhood. Pulls up, Zayn White sees the car at the stop sign, believes it's Keyshawn, and goes out and begins firing, I think 5 or 6 shots at the car as it goes by. I think he hit the grass most of the time. He's not that accurate, thank God, but the significance behind that was that it's so reckless that we almost had some innocent person, again, either shot or killed at the hands of these reckless gang members. Any other questions? All right, I guess that's it.
Stuff out of your way here. Sheriff, we appreciate the
No,
partnership.
no.